Coming up on Tech News Today, U.S. ISPs lie much less than they did back in 2009. Android has an eavesdropping trojan, and Amazon's App Store may be rotten. All that and more coming up.
Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
Bandwidth for Tech News Today is provided by Cachefly at CACHEFLY.com.
This is Tech News Today for Tuesday, August 2nd, 2011. Tech News Today is brought to you by Slingbox, which just turned your iPad into a television. Slingbox introduces their new iPad app, so now you can watch your home TV on your iPad anywhere you take it. Check it out at Best Buy or slingbox.com/twit. Welcome to Tech News Today. I'm Tom Merritt.
I'm Sarah Lane.
I'm Iyaz, Akhtar.
That's it. That's all you get today. Jason's off on vacation.
He's had some family reunion, something all wonderful.
That's why I don't have a family.
Because it requires so much travel.
But thankfully, we got Iyaz running the board. This third day. Third day is a charm, right, man?
That's a saying. I don't know if it's going to apply today, but we can try it.
Iyaz, I think you're doing a bang-up job.
I appreciate that, and I'm trying.
We're gonna have guests the rest of the week, though. Tomorrow, the return of Joanna Stern and Mark Terpster together again for the third time.
And is it because they want to be together again?
Joanna actually kind of seriously complained. She's like, "Why did you book me last time without Terpster?"
Well, everyone wants to be on with Terpster because he's funny and cool and British and different.
And then Thursday, Natalie Morris is going to be on.
Formerly Del Conte.
Friday, Clayton Morris.
It's a family show. Family week.
And Friday, also Eric Olander from France 24, tech reporter for France 24.
Friday's going to be an interesting show because I will also be remote, which I am rarely on TNT because I'm going to be down in San Diego for the Blog Her conference. So it'll be an interesting show for Iyaz to be switching.
I won't even be here on Friday.
No, Iyaz is off on Friday.
Iyaz isn't even going to be here.
Alex Gumpel will be behind the board.
Wonderful.
It'll be me alone.
This
by
will
yourself.
Friday's going to be fun. You're going to need that tequila. In your mouth.
Finish that. I can't finish that tequila till Fat Emo Kid is around, though, because he's the one who gave it to me.
Well, you've got a bottle of wine right next to it, so you're good
I'll
to go.
finish that.
Yeah.
All right. Facebook has acquired Pushpop Press. Now, if you've never heard of them, Pushpop Press makes books for iOS. They won an Apple Design Award for the Al Gore book, Our Choice. A lot of people knew about Our Choice. It got some buzz.
Yeah, we actually reviewed it on iPad today. It was an ebook that could be. It was an iOS app that could be viewed on iPod Touch or
kind of had some whiz-bang
iPad.
effects.
Yeah, I mean, it was. Listen, not everybody would have liked the content of it because it was Al Gore's environmentalist agenda, but it was made very well. The pictures were great. They had good interactivity and videos, and it was a very well done app.
Facebook says this is a talent acquisition, that they're not intending to go into the book publishing business. In fact, the owners of Pushpop Press and Facebook both made that very clear. They just want Mike Mattis and Kimon Sinteris to work for them and put their talents to work on Facebook. In fact, the Pushpop Press announcement says, although Facebook isn't planning to start publishing digital books, the ideas and technology behind Pushpop Press will be integrated with Facebook, giving people even richer ways to share their stories.
Facebook is known for acquiring talent. I mean, they've done this a variety of times before where they'll buy a service and we all go, ooh, what are they going to do? And they don't seem to do anything with the service as it was. The people who worked there, the friend feed folks is one example that comes to mind, just come and work for Facebook behind the scenes. I'm having a hard time figuring out what Pushpop Press is going to do with their talents at Facebook. Are they going to work on some sort of a visualization tab that would make the Facebook experience more like an ebook?
It sounds like it's design stuff, right?
I mean, if you think about it, the way Facebook's got its pictures brought out and it's got all this text stuff everywhere, if you put everything in this ebook style thing where you can actually have your photos in one location with words that match it, it might be a better experience for maybe even like a Facebook tablet experience.
Sorry, I got distracted by the infinite Iyazes.
Oh, I'm sorry
you have a monitor over your right shoulder.
I can't turn that off, so hey, me.
It's Iyaz forever!
But yes, no, I think you're on the right course. In fact, they say they're taking their publishing technology and offering everything we've learned to help design the world's largest Facebook. So I guess Facebook's just going to become a big interactive app, which is what it is.
Well,
They're just-
I think that's what they want it to be
Yeah.
as well. I guess these two guys, they have a lot of faith in.
Meanwhile, this morning, a lot of people got really excited because iCloud.com went live, and some people were able to log in, some people weren't. It's actually meant for developers.
But you have a developer account, and you weren't able to
maybe or
log in.
maybe not. I can't say.
Oh,
But
if you were
if I
to
did,
have one. Yeah, I worded that strangely. I made it seem like Tom did, and I don't know if he does or not.
If I did, I wasn't able to log in. But that's because apparently it says in the developer instructions you have to have you can log in with your email address unless you have a me.com address. Then you
Isn't
have to,
that
then
an
you have
email
to create
address?
a different account.
Okay.
A different sign-in, yeah,
Huh.
which is weird. But this is launched for people who've been beta testing iOS 5 without access to iCloud. There's been an iCloud item in iOS 5, but there hasn't been the ability to use iCloud yet.
Yeah.
So this is allowing them to finally start implementing that and testing it with their apps and everything. They also announced their pricing. So if you're looking forward to iCloud launching later this fall, 10 additional gigabytes for $20. Remember, you get 5 gigabytes free. And then 20 additional gigabytes for $40 per year and 50 additional gigabytes for $100 per year. That's actually much cheaper than what you were paying for MobileMe.
Yeah, I mean, it was $99 for what, 20 gigabytes, I think, of
Yeah.
storage. So they're not really, you don't get a price break if you go for the 50 additional gigabytes.
But 50
It's just
gigabytes
sort
is
of an
all you can
incremental
get.
thing.
That's the max.
Right.
That's not enough for what I want to do with it.
But 50
It's enough
gigabytes-
for a lot of the uses. but-
You only have so much stuff in the cloud, but I mean, 50 gigabytes is really small. I mean, even the MacBook Air ships with like, what, 64 gigabytes of hard drive space? I mean, that's the lowest one. So why would they top out at 50?
Well, remember, iCloud isn't about backing up anymore. It's about services. It doesn't have that syncing. You know, you're supposed to go buy a time machine for that now.
Yeah, that's
Or a
the,
time capsule, I'm
that's
sorry.
the
and
thing.
use time
I
machine.
think people get hung up in $100 for 50 gigabytes. 50 gigabytes isn't enough. I mean, I've got 500 gigabytes on my laptop, and I'm almost out of storage. But it's like the whole idea is to be syncing. I mean, if you're syncing your music or TV shows or photo gallery, picture galleries, that sort of thing, that doesn't count towards these gigabytes of storage.
Right.
It's an addition to.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm not even sure why you'd need the additional gigabytes. MG Sigler at TechCrunch was able to log in, and he said it looks slick, and he put some pictures up to prove it. The apps really do look like the apps you see on either iOS or in the calendars. A calendar looks like the app on Lion.
Well, I mean, would you expect anything different?
Yeah, but you know what?
Yeah,
And he even said they work like apps, and they're in the cloud. They're in your browser, you know, running in a Safari browser. It's not bad. So
No, it's awesome.
looking forward to trying it out. Today, the FCC went to Best Buy and announced the Measuring Broadband America study. FCC Chairman Julius Genachowski picked that place for some reason to announce their study that compares the speeds that people get from their ISPs compared to the speeds they are promised by their ISPs. Now, ISPs say up to or close to 50 gigabytes per second or whatever. Yeah, nobody sells that, but they sell on a speed, but it's always in a very small print, up to 50 megabytes per second. Megabits per second. I want megabytes per second. See, part of me just wants much more than they can possibly deliver. Anyway, big improvement over the last time they did the study in 2009.
Unless you're Cablevision.
Unless you're Cablevision. Yeah, the Comcast, Cox, and Verizon all did very well. In fact, Verizon consistently over-delivered the speed. Comcast, except for peak hours, over-delivered the speed. And then even in peak hours, they weren't too far below.
No, it was only just a minor drop-off.
But Cablevision during peak hours just plummeted.
And peak hours for Cablevision seems to start around noon. I mean,
Yeah.
peak hours like the whole time. It's just kind of bad.
On average, during peak periods, DSL-based services delivered download speeds that were 82% of advertised. Cable-based services delivered 93% of advertised, and fiber to the home delivered 114% of advertised. That makes sense to me because DSL is never going to deliver 100% of their customers 100% of the speed, because the farther you are from the office, the less speed you're going to get of the theoretical maximum. So that's never going to happen. Cable's never going to give you 100% because it's shared bandwidth. So when a lot of people come online, it's just going to bring it down a little. Where Comcast and Cox succeeded was having enough capacity that it didn't bring it down too far.
Sure. Well, here's my problem with this. Okay, so let's say I'm a Comcast subscriber. So it's like, well, look, I'm in the top tier. Could be worse because Comcast is my only choice. But for people who also just have one or two choices, and they're obviously not getting very good speeds, and they see that other companies are delivering better, and they don't have a choice to switch.
Yeah, they can't go to those companies.
It's kind of like
we can't go to Fios, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this is a frustrating type of a thing unless the companies are going to be forced to, hey, if Comcast can get to this peak, you're going to have to figure out how to get there too, or we're going to regulate you, which is not what people want either.
Apart from the technology, is there just too much promising? Are these ISPs saying, you'll get 50 when they know they can only give you 25 and get away with it? I mean,
well, that seemed to be the case in 2009 when on average the speeds delivered were 50% of promised. Now it seems like, they're 82, 90. They're actually doing what is okay in my opinion, which is to say, look, we're going to try to deliver you 50 megabits per second. Network connections are fickle. We're not always going to be able to give that, but we're going to do our best effort to get you close. 92% to me is sort of an honest way of dealing with it. Maybe they can make that up to a little bigger in the print for the marketing advertisements. But the other thing the study found is that 50% of the people don't even know what speeds they're supposed to be getting.
Do you think that this is going to make companies try to put infrastructure with fiber instead of using the same old technologies?
This is going to make companies like Verizon, which already reacted to the story, go, see, we're great.
Yeah.
There's no need to ever regulate us or do anything. We love this study. Now leave us alone so we can charge you more and put in bandwidth caps. That's
a bummer.
I don't know. That's what I think. What I think this should point out is there obviously isn't a huge crunch if Comcast and Verizon can deliver close to the capacity of what they should be. In fact, Verizon over-delivers capacity. If everybody were spending the money to run fiber, maybe I could deal with bandwidth caps. But I can't. What I can deal with is taking a break and thanking our sponsor, without which we couldn't bring you this analysis and news. Slingbox has a new iPad app. You might have heard us talk about it. It's fantastic. You've got to try Slingbox. It allows you to watch your home TV anywhere you go. So we got some folks in the audience watching the show today. They could actually be watching their home TV right now during the ad. They could be like, you know what, I have Slingbox. I don't need to listen to this ad. I'm going to catch up on a few minutes of my show. I see somebody pulling out a device right now. Are you going to? No, he's not. He's not going to. He's being much more polite than I'm suggesting. But you could anywhere you got an internet connection. You're at an airport. You're in a hotel room. You're waiting in a the doctor's office. You can be watching everything that's on your home TV, on your DVR, without paying a monthly fee. All you got to pay for is the Slingbox. Once you put it in and install it, that's it. You may have to pay for the software for certain apps like the iPad, but you don't have to pay a monthly subscription fee. That's the key here. So check it out. You can go to a Best Buy and try it there, or you can visit slingbox.com/twit. Slingbox on your home TV, now appearing on iPads everywhere. Give them a shot. Try it out. Make some good use of that promised broadband that has been...
You take your living room with you.
Yeah.
Put it in your messenger bag. Insta-hipster.
Or you don't have to be a hipster.
No.
It's.
You do have to have a beard, though.
Yeah, unless you're a lady.
Right.
Right.
But you could also be a
Actually,
bearded lady.
You don't have to have a beard to buy one, though, and use it. You're just saying
true.
to become an Insta-hipster.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. An Android trojan has been found that will record your phone calls. Why hasn't anyone labeled this the Nixon Trojan? I'm just wondering that right now. Dinesh Venkatasan from HCL Technologies wrote this up on a CA blog. He found a Trojan for Android on a malware collection channel, so it's not in the wild. Don't have to worry yet about accidentally getting this thing, but here's the way it works. It would present itself as an Android system message that would require users to press an install button in order to insert itself. So it's easily thwarted if you're paying attention, but you have to know what you're downloading at any given moment, and you can't be distracted just hitting OK on everything. You got to read the message. The thing actually says we're going to record audio and read the phone state and identity. So it tells you what it's going to do before it installs itself. Phone calls are recorded and saved then to an AMR file on your SD memory card, and a text file actually records the length of them. Those could be uploaded to a nefarious source. They also fill up your SD card fast, so you might notice something weird is happening that way if you got it. Again, this isn't out in the wild, but once on the phone, we're starting to realize we got to pay attention to what we're downloading, what we're installing.
And it sounds just like the warnings that, I don't know. I mean, I used to get on Windows all the time. It's like, if something looks like a weird program, use your better judgment.
Yeah,
because it's in your hands to either download or to know that something's up.
This is the same policy we have to follow on our computers. We now have to follow them on phones, and that's a
phones
trade-off.
are little computers.
That's a trade-off that I can live with because it allows me, at least in the Android universe, to go and install a wider variety of programs.
Yeah.
This program right now is not in the marketplace, so you'd have to go out of your way to find it, to install it, to create this problem, right?
Yeah, this is not in the wild. You're not going to accidentally run across it yet.
Okay.
But it does demonstrate that you should be paying attention because who knows when something like this or this does get in the wild. So install carefully.
Or just don't have conversations about anything of interest.
Because
someone might be listening.
I actually never call anyone, so this thing would really...
I'm not picking up. It might be recorded.
Yeah.
Text me.
I'm taking out my SD card, throwing it away every day. Another Android story, Shifty Jelly is not a rapper. It is an Android developer. They make an app called Pocketcasts that was featured on the Amazon Android App Store on June 27th as a free app. Now, Amazon publicly says that it pays developers 20% of the asking price of an app, even when they give it away free, which I always thought, how do they do it? That's pretty crazy. Why wouldn't you want your app to be featured?
Sure.
Apparently, Amazon, according to Shifty Jelly, goes around and asks certain app developers to waive that policy and allow their app to be given away for free without Amazon giving them any money. Shifty Jelly agreed to this terms, that they would not earn any revenue from the downloads on that particular day. There was an internal debate over whether to accept the terms, but they decided to do it because they thought it was good exposure. Turns out that somewhere in the region of 100,000 plus apps were downloaded on that day. My Chrome page crashed on me, so I lost it for a second. Here it is.
1,491 orders.
So $54,805 they could have made if they had actually been getting revenue that day, but they didn't make. And then after that, the sales went in the toilet. It didn't help sales at all. And to add insult to injury, they say on their blog, Pocket Cast relies on a server to parse the feeds. So they had to buy more hardware to meet the demand of these new people that didn't give them any money.
Yeah, the guys at Shifty Jelly, I mean, they spelled out exactly what happened in great detail because they're obviously pretty teed off. Apparently they had, once they knew that they weren't going to get any money for being featured, they had kind of an internal debate. Should we do this? We don't want to do this.
Yeah.
This is not what we agreed to. These were not the terms of service. And Amazon said, listen, you get so much exposure, and then you're going to be featured for another, I think it's like a week to 14 days on our popular apps area, which gets you even more exposure. Well, they say not only did it not get us any more downloads, but then they dropped the price from what it was originally because Amazon can put it at whatever price they want.
Amazon dictates the price.
After it was free, it was even less expensive, and they still didn't get an uptick in downloads. And they said, for the most part, because I think they're, I think it's a podcasting app where you can get podcasts downloaded automatically in the background. Said pretty much probably everybody who wanted this app got it on the day it was free.
That's what it seems like, and that seems like something that developers are going to need to take into account when Amazon comes knocking and says, we'd like to feature your app for free, but we're not going to give you the 20% that we say we'll give you because you're going to get all this exposure. Well, it may or may not work that way. And maybe this is an app that wouldn't work that way. Maybe it needs a different kind of app to take advantage of that. Certainly, they're not losing $54,000 because that, somebody in the chat room said, yeah, that's MPAA economics, where you count lost revenue that you wouldn't have got because they wouldn't have had 101,000 downloads.
Right.
They put up a screenshot. Their orders were 1420 in the days before. They didn't show what they are after this, though.
Well, part of their problem is that this is a podcasting thing, so they are constantly using bandwidth when they want to use the application, right? So versus other kinds of maybe like free games where you wouldn't have the same kind of bandwidth usage. I mean, this is a very special case. Do you think this is going to make people think twice to go to Amazon or go to Android's app market or start, I don't know, go to Rock? There's all kinds of app stores on Android.
These guys have said we're pulling out of the Amazon App Store. And in fact, they point out that you can't remove your app from the Amazon App Store except by email.
Yeah, and asking nicely.
You have to ask permission to remove your app, which is unlike any other app store.
It sounds like getting a dialogue going with whoever's running the show for the app developers at Amazon is a real struggle. They said Amazon rewrote their description to say that their app would let you add up to 100 podcasts. That's not even true. They're like, we don't even know where they got those numbers.
My sense is that these guys were not having a good time in the Amazon App Store. And this happened and that just broke them.
Yeah.
And they wrote a ranty post that has some validity behind it. But the fact of the matter is, Amazon, you know, they didn't rip them off. They said, look, we'll feature you if you waive the 20%. And they agreed to waive the 20%. I just think they don't like the Amazon experience. And this was the straw that broke the camel's back.
And a lot of this
or maybe a big pole that broke the camel's back.
And it's a direct comparison to Google. They say, hey, Google makes it easy for us to fix errors because they provide us error reports. Amazon doesn't do any of that.
Yeah.
And when we want something to change, we have to email Amazon and they can get back to us whenever they get back to us.
Put that in comparison to most developers saying, I prefer iOS's app store because it's easier than the Android store, than the Android marketplace. Amazon looks like it's incredibly difficult in that respect. So anyway, not saying this is death for the Amazon App Store, but, you know, it's a little black mark on them.
Well, it's interesting to note for anybody. I mean, we had talked about how this infrastructure was going to work before, and it sounds like for developers, if you're under the impression that you're going to get 20% of a huge uptick in sales when your app is the free app of the day, that just may not be the case.
But yeah, wait until they actually give you the offer before you start counting any money of eventually being featured.
Right.
And frankly, if I were a developer, I'd say no. Unless I think I'm going to get millions of downloads and I've got some other way of making money, some kind of in-app game purchases or something, I would say no. I would say, look, that's just not worth it.
Yeah, I mean, even if they weren't going to have sold all these apps, they ended up having to spend money on their back end because of this little experiment,
Yeah,
which obviously as a developer you don't
Iyaz
want
made
to
that
happen
point
unless
too, yeah.
you actually did it yourself.
EA is starting something called Season Ticket. You give them $25 for a year. They will give you pre-release games and cheaper downloadable content. Early full game digital access means that, check this out, this is kind of weird. You get every game that's in this program 3 days early, and they've announced some of the titles already. Things like Madden, so it's, you know, they're good stuff. NHL hockey, FIFA soccer, Tiger Woods PGA Tour.
It's all sports stuff.
NCAA football. It's all sports stuff so far. So 3 days before these go on sale, you get to download them to your PS3 or your Xbox and start playing them right away. On the day they come out, then you have to buy them or they stop working. So you do have to eventually buy it on release day, but it does save any progress you've made in the game. So if you've built up a team and you've got some experience and you're playing career mode, you don't lose any of that stuff.
Yeah, you've got a leg up on everybody else.
You also get 20% discount on all available downloadable content for participating EAA Sports titles. You know, stuff that adds players, adds teams, ultimate team packs, things like that. Free premium web content. You know, if you're online doing the Creation Center, making your own teams, you get some free content there. And a little badge that says, you know, you're the exclusive member of this or that thing. Mostly what you're getting is early digital access and some discounted downloadable content for $25. It seems like that's a reasonable amount of money. It's just weird. Why can't I just go ahead and pay for the game on the third day? Why do I have to go and order, either go to the store or have it delivered, the freaking disc?
Well, EA and GameStop work together. They must have some agreement that they came to require people to have to go and buy a game retail after they already have the game and have been playing the game and like it enough to continue playing the game. But if you give me a digital copy, then I know that that's possible. And it's almost a little insulting to say, and now you have to go down to the nearest wherever it is that might not be right around the corner from you and pick up the physical game. I guess a little weird.
If you play and all the EA Sports titles, this is going to pay off. $25 is not that much, but it is a little bit of trouble. And if you only play 1 or 2 games, it's really not. I mean, you're just getting totally. Whoever's fair 999 says it perfectly. You're $25 a year for demo play.
Yeah.
So if you're going to play every one of these things and you're going to get a discount on the downloadable content that you know you're going to use, it might play out. Otherwise, I'm not sure I see the advantage unless you're a really hardcore EA Sports.
It's purely for bragging rights, isn't it? Like, I played this actual complete game 3 days before you did, so that's why it's awesome.
And bragging rights of, and my team is now going to kick your ass in online play because I've been building it up for 3 days and you're starting from scratch.
Well, that a nifty badge, gamification of games.
I have badge. You have no badge.
Now, do you get a real badge when you go into GameStop after the 3rd day?
Should.
I would like a golden badge.
Yeah. Or
at
least
$25.
gold-plated. On to Sprint, announcing that they will begin offering 4G service on a wholesale basis. 4G, the bankrupt term, means WiMAX in Sprint's case. The new arrangement is made possible by an agreement reached with Clearwire over wholesale pricing in April. Why this is interesting is because we're starting to see a couple of things happen with wholesale. Light Squared wants to do wholesale LTE service, and they have announced a partnership with Sprint. So Sprint is going to be putting LTE in their towers. Now they say they're going to be offering 4G on a wholesale basis. That could change from WiMAX to LTE at any point. And I think it's smart for Sprint. I think it's smart for them to say, look, we are not going to catch up with AT&T and Verizon. AT&T is going to get T-Mobile. They're going to start crushing us in the retail space. Our last earnings call, if you remember, they grew in postpaid. In other words, those the pay-as-you-go service, and wholesale. They fell in prepaid, which is the normal contract business. So they're saying, you know what? Let's go wholesale. Let's do this. Let's create hundreds of competitors for AT&T and Verizon and make money off them instead of trying to take them on directly. And I think that's smart, and I think it could be really good for consumers if they pull it off.
If you were a wholesaler, though, wouldn't you prefer to go with LTE over Clearwire if you really had a choice and you were going to work with Sprint either way?
Probably. It depends on the deals that Sprint gives
Yeah,
you.
I
But the
guess.
fact that Sprint's going to be putting this LTE equipment in their towers for Light Squared, granted, Light Squared has to get off the ground and get its problems with GPS cleared up.
Sure.
But if that happens, Sprint could actually offer you a choice.
That's true.
They could say...
Although if that doesn't happen for another year or so, I mean, who knows?
Right.
We don't have an answer for
It's
that.
a longer-term play, for
Yeah,
sure.
I mean, wholesalers could at least go WiMAX.
But I'd say at this point, I am cheering for Sprint and Light Squared to offer wholesale access because that is going to give us the kind of system we want in landline, where the ISP isn't in 15 other businesses. The ISP is just providing the bits. And you have multiple competitors. We could actually end up, if this worked, we could actually end up with the ideal situation in wireless, but not in wired.
Well, this is going to create a whole bunch of MVNOs with Apple to say,
It's more than it's more than
anymore?
an MVNO. Actually, it's actually saying, you know what, we're not doing anything but giving you access. You can, we're going to charge you a wholesale rate, and you charge whatever you want. MVNOs, as I understand them, and I don't understand them terribly well, but the network was still managed by Sprint, AT&T, whoever the MVNO was working with, and they just kind of put a brand on the front. This is wholesale saying, you're going to manage your network. We're just going to give you access to the pipes. All right, let's move on to the news fuse. Ooh, it's the new news fuse.
Ooh, it's pretty.
Time keeps on ticking, and the Apple iPhone 5 rumors keep on coming. According to Stern AG analyst Sha Wu, if you've followed tech news at all, you know and love the crazy Sha Wu. The, quote, iPhone refresh in the fall timeframe could be a bigger upgrade than we expected. Wu went on to detail his expectations on the next phone. Dual-core processor, we've heard that. Slightly larger display with a thinner bezel. I think we saw that on This Is My Next and a couple other blogs. But no LTE. That's also things that we heard. So we know for certain that Apple will come out with an iPhone.
According to an IDC report for the second quarter of this year, AMD has made some gains in the overall worldwide PC microprocessor market. AMD is up a whopping 1.5% from Q1, giving AMD 20.4% of the market share. VIA holds 0.3% of that same market. And if you're wondering how good old Intel is doing, and I know you are, it's down 1.5% and holds a really embarrassing, measly 79.3% of the market.
That's actually quite a lot.
Yeah.
Actually, I thought it was larger.
I was trying to make AMD feel better.
Sony is reevaluating every piece of its business right now, as you can imagine, to make the company a success again. Sony CFO Masaru Kato says Sony will turn its TV division into, quote, one that can be profitable even if we do not pursue volume. Which, what does that mean? They're going to raise their prices on all their TVs? Company will also consider partnerships if that's what it takes. You hear that, Steve Jobs?
Whatever it takes.
Call Sony.
Okay, I have pretty much the sexiest story that you're going to hear all day. Battery technology may be changing.
All right. You know what? This may not be sexy, but everybody wants this.
It's true. Currently, lithium-ion batteries use a liquid electrolyte, which leads the battery to be bulky and sometimes flammable. A Japanese group of researchers have found a solid electrolyte that may give rise to a solid-state battery. Pretty cool. Unlike other solid electrolytes, this new one has been found to perform as well as lithium-ion batteries. Now, the challenge is how to make the battery survive many charges and discharge cycles like current batteries do.
But yeah, if we could get
Implications
a
are pretty
stabler,
cool.
not going to explode my laptop battery, I'd be
That
very
would
happy.
be great.
The MPAA just got Zadiva shut down. We knew this was coming. Zadiva allowed its users to rent a DVD and a DVD drive and then stream the movie over the internet to them. Zadiva would actually put the DVD in the DVD drive, so to speak, and then send it out to users. They argued the service was equivalent to having a DVD player located just very far away with a long cable. The MPAA sued in April, and a federal judge did not buy Zadiva's arguments and have granted a preliminary injunction against Zadiva, which shuts down the service. For now, Zadiva does plan to appeal.
Shocking. If you're one of the few people who bought a Logitech review before all the retailers gave them back, listen up. There's some good news for you. Honeycomb Beta for the review has leaked. Android Central has the detailed instructions, and they're kind of detailed, but you can follow them, how to install the OS via a USB drive. This upgrade is for serious types because once you go to Honeycomb, you cannot roll back.
It's easy to install.
No
It's just-
take-backsies.
There's no take-backs, exactly. Back on July 19th, UK website The Sun was hacked. Today, News Group announced that, and they own The Sun, that thousands had their data compromised. Affected users were those who entered into competition on The Sun's website and are being contacted directly by News Group. So if you're trying to win something from The Sun, people might have your email address. The Sun's site are being, in a related story, the managing editor at the time of the News of the World phone hacking scandal, which caused the attack on The Sun, has been arrested. His name is Stuart Kuttner. He's 71 years old. And all the stories put a picture of Rupert Murdoch next to the story. I'm like, that's not the same 70-plus-year-old
all
guy.
old men look alike.
Yeah, exactly.
Clearly.
Jeez. That's Lizzie reporting. Okay, I'm going to be Samsung for a minute, all right?
Okay.
I'm Samsung.
Oh my gosh, Samsung! You're
Hey,
going to sell your tablet in
Samsung,
Australia.
I'm gonna sue you,
I'm
Apple.
panicking.
Hey, Australia, everybody should calm down.
Oh, all right, mate.
Okay, I'm done being Samsung. In a statement, Samsung says it would be releasing a Galaxy Tab 10.1 in the near future, and its agreement with Apple is about a variant of the Tab Samsung wasn't gonna sell in Australia anyway. They weren't gonna do that.
Wait, they
This
pulled
is
a fast one on Apple.
Yeah,
huh?
we didn't even want to sell it there. Apple had nothing to do with this. Another Samsung Apple fund, the U.S. ITC, announced that it would begin investigating on whether Samsung infringes on Apple's patents on Apple's behalf.
Apple's not going to like this.
I love that Samsung saying, Apple didn't make us pull out of Australia. We don't even like Australia.
We won't sell that tablet. We won't sell that tablet, that one.
We didn't want to sell
there.
that tablet anyway.
It's like a kindergartner. Let's move on to the randomizer.
Randomizer.
You may have heard us talk about the Reba healthcare robot, but Riken is back with a redo. Reba 2
Electric
still looks like a bear, though. However, it boasts a series of upgrades that allow it to bend over and lift hospital patients directly off the floor, not just off a bed or a wheelchair, but its friendly bear face means you won't panic when they do it. It's also now able to lift patients that weigh up to 176 pounds. That is 3 Sarah Lanes. And it packs an array of new sensors that let it more accurately gauge a person's weight and carry them more comfortably.
It's actually only 2
Is
Sarah
it?
Lanes.
I didn't
It's
mean
actually
to
not
presume.
quite 2. I hope that their hands are well padded, because a smile isn't going to help me if you've got an iron hand under.
And Dr. Mom points
where.
out, I don't think hospital patients are supposed to be on the floor. And she's a doctor. So I guess if they fall out of bed,
Well, or if you have to move from a gurney to something else.
Well, the other thing is, if you fall off the bed, are you going to sue a bear? No, you're not going to sue
Not a
bear.
smiley, cute bear like this.
not, no.
Hell no.
Well, the bear didn't push him out of bed.
Did it?
Bear's going to help him
Might
get
be
back
trying
into
to justify
bed.
its job. You never know. It's going around pushing people.
Sentient bears.
How did all these patients get on the floor? I don't know.
But I
you
can
need me,
help.
obviously.
Are you 175 or less? No, then never mind.
Only the light patients seem to fall out of it. Onto the calendar.
Today is 802.11 day. Happy Wireless Networking Day, everyone. It's a wonderful day.
I love this kind of stuff.
Actually, Darren Kitchen was
it's
the first
August
one that I saw. who-
02.
Yeah, yes,
Yeah,
it's 802.
For anybody who doesn't get
11.
the thing.
That's how it goes. Unless, of course, you're one of those people who says 2, 8, 11, and then you're
You have
like,
to
you
put
know
the
what? This
zero
doesn't
in
really
front of
matter
the
to us.
2, and you have to do 11, not 2011. But make it work, people.
Yeah, thanks also to Dustin for alerting us.
I
of
can't
this.
wait till 2022. August 2nd. Because that'll be 802.22, and we'll actually be using it by then.
Super
Ooh.
fast.
In fact, it might even be obsolete by then. Who
Will
knows?
we be alive?
Hope
That was
so.
really depressing.
All right, Skype for iPad, you might recall, was released actually last night, and everybody was like, "Yay, VideoCon on Wi-Fi and 3G," and then it got pulled, and Skype said, "We weren't really ready. That app was released prematurely." They didn't really say why,
Press release.
but the app is back.
Press release wasn't.
I think the PR people were like,
think they've panicked.
"Our press release was so good too."
because you said you downloaded it, and the re-release didn't look any different
I can't.
from the original one.
There may be differences. I couldn't see any differences. So, yeah, it seems like they just jumped the gun and somebody got mad. But anyway, it's out. So if you're interested in that sort of thing, go get it, try it out, call somebody. Droid X2 users, check your system updates. You know why? Because Gingerbread became available to you last night.
Woo!
BlackBerry Fan Night. It's going to be the best event Toronto has ever seen.
I'm jealous, Toronto.
Tomorrow, August 3rd.
They're going to show off BlackBerry OS 7.
Yeah.
I know it.
I hope they
In fact,
do.
Crackberry.com says it.
Either
So-
that or it's just a lot of handshaking and popcorn.
And beaming.
Fan night.
Contact info.
So good to be a fan. Thanks, Rim. Also, tomorrow, the UK will legalize CD and DVD ripping.
Yeah, and
Finally,
it was not legal.
You can come out of hiding.
Yeah, legalize
okay.
it. Stop going to those back alley CD rippers.
Stand proud.
Do it in public.
Rip.
Go to Piccadilly Square and rip your heart out.
Let her rip, UK.
On a double-decker bus even. Just keep ripping. Verizon will offer its first 4G LTE netbook. This is a
Piccadilly
It's
Circus.
a really.
I know. Don't write it and correct me. Sorry, go ahead.
Are you ready for the LTE netbook's name? Because it rolls off the tongue really
Oh,
nicely.
yeah, it must have a trippy, cool name. Right?
Yeah, it's cool. The Compact Mini CQ10 688NR.
Oh, that is a sexy name right there.
Isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if you can remember
right
it,
now.
you're
The
sexy
CR,
too.
blah.
On August 4th for $450 with a 2-year contract. DEF CON 19 is running from the 4th to the 7th of this month, and for the first time is going to feature its first annual DEF CON Kids Conference that runs from August 6th to August 7th. So DEF CON, the audience, I guess, is aging, and now they've got nephews and nieces and
They're
kids.
recruiting
and-
young.
Yeah, so you've got DEF CON young. And it looks like we were wrong about that whole August 17th Nokia Microsoft event that we mentioned where we were like, obviously, this is Windows Phone 7 running on a Nokia. We mentioned this in the calendar. Apparently, it's not going to be that at all. A trusted source told This Is My Next, Chris Ziegler, that Nokia and Microsoft are just using this opportunity to mingle with local developers and build relationships going into that Mango launch.
Really?
Mango and mingling? Awesome.
Mangling.
Mangling.
That's what they call
It's
it.
the Mango Mingle.
Whatever,
new
Microsoft.
dance.
Tease. You're just a tease.
Yeah.
On to the voicemail. 260-TNT show is the phone number, or you can record a video, upload it to your favorite video sharing service, and send us the link like OC did. And he's got some thoughts about Foxconn and their use of robots in China that I did not know. Thank you for sharing these with us, OC.
Just wanted to comment briefly on the story we ran yesterday, August 1st, about Foxconn adding 1 million robots to their workforce. I travel to China about 4 times a year for a local Petaluma company, and I think the story is a little bit bigger than most people have been reporting. So in the West, we think it's normal to add robots to eliminate expensive human workers, but in China, it's not that way. Assembly of tech gadgets has always been done manually. In fact, designs that require automation have been discouraged because of the added cost. So Foxconn adding 1 million robots is a signal that labor costs are really increasing in China. This is, of course, exactly what happened in the U.S. during our Industrial Revolution, and workers think they're getting more money, but they will soon find that they're replaced by robots. And the repercussion is that U.S. and other Western design companies are going to start looking elsewhere to get their products made cheaper, which is why Foxconn has built a big factory in Brazil, and I may be going to the Ukraine in a few years instead of China.
Interesting.
Yippee.
Good stuff. Thank you. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
So this kind of robot, kind of the arm rope, not this kind of rope-like walking
What?
robot.
This kind rather than that.
You know, like the factory
the driving
robot that
robot.
just, you know,
Yeah.
it's just a mechanical arm. That makes more sense.
What
I don't
about
know I was
robot
thinking.
bears? Wait, which robots is Foxconn hiring? Bears?
They're not hiring
Or
the
just
bears,
car-
Iyaz.
Not just the bears?
No.
No bears.
No, the bears are in the hospitals.
Well, unless the
can't they hire
workers
the
start
bears?
falling out of bed,
Prejudice.
then they're going to need
Prejudice
bears
against
too.
robot bears. It's a
That's
horrible
me.
thing. On to the emails. TNT@twit.tv is our email address. Michael Ball says, today's story prompted me to check my page for AT&T upgrades. We had an email yesterday saying someone just got their iPhone upgrade moved up with no explanation. Michael says, I noticed something unusual. First, let me say that the account is a shared family plan with 4 iPhones and corporate discount, which means the bill's kind of scary. However, when I just checked, all 4 of the lines state that they are eligible for upgrades, but most are nowhere near 2 years old. A couple are actually getting close to a year and a half, and my line has an iPhone 4. AT&T generally lets you shuffle upgrade times between lines, so it's difficult to tell exactly what the most recent date would otherwise be, but having 4 upgrades at once is not normal, but quite nice since my whole family is ready to upgrade their iPhones. Now, we've had some people call and say that no, this had nothing to do with the iPhone. It's some weird policy. But I don't know. This sounds like AT&T's going through and tweaking some dates for people ahead of time. Just saying.
Yeah, especially for a 4 iPhone plan. I mean, it for his sake, I hope it's true. 'Cause
All right, so
he sounds ready to upgrade.
If anyone else knows otherwise, write us, TNT@twit.tv.
Yes. Or send us a voicemail in Morse,
That's right.
because we
I don't
aren't
know.
busy enough.
Okay, I'll handle it. Don't worry about it.
Sorry, Iyaz, don't do that.
I have to listen to
Do
all
not
of
send
it,
us
so.
anything in Morse. Sanjay from Singapore sent us another email. He was watching episode 294 regarding the Android figures when we were comparing phones versus tablet numbers. He wants to give his 2 cents. The reason why the numbers for smartphones are so much higher for phones over tablets is due to the fact that the tablet is a luxury product, while a phone is something that people need. When you go and get a mobile phone, many people will get the cheapest phone that can do basic things. We're just now at the stage where these cheap phones are smartphones. In the tablet space, people generally only get tablets as a luxury device. It can usually afford a $500 device with no problem. Therefore, they want the best device. They'll choose the best tablet. I'd be interested to know the Android numbers for the high-end Android phones under the various carriers. I suspect that the majority of the Android phones are the lower-end versions from HTC, Samsung, Motorola, etc.
That's an interesting point. So, I mean, Sanjay, you're saying numbers, but we were talking percentages. And we were saying that the percentage is higher of iPad because it's early in the Android's life. But he's making a different argument.
Yeah, I mean, the point that we made, the overall point that we were making is, of course, the smartphone numbers are higher than the tablet numbers because Android tablet market is just getting off the ground. I mean, we're kind of in our first year here, and we're feeling it out. And I think what Sanjay's point is, even when Android tablets, we have more varieties. They're slicker. They've kind of, you know, there are clear winners in that market. There are still going to be a lot more Android smartphone users because the tablet is not something that people need as much as a phone.
All right. Well, that's a good point then. I like it. Thank you, Sanjay. I think it's probably another factor in there.
Yeah. Well, not everybody has a phone and a tablet. And not everyone is going to have a phone and a tablet just because there are more variety in a couple more years.
Everyone will need a phone.
Yeah.
Probably. I mean, obviously you can live without a phone, but
hey,
a phone
Skype
is something
for iPad.
more
Do I need a
people-
phone?
Well, maybe your iPad becomes your phone.
Yeah,
It's a
I
little
know.
bulky, though.
It doesn't fit in my tight jeans.
All right, big round of applause for Iyaz Akhtar. Day 3 gets better every time.
Well, thank you.
It
Thank
definitely
you.
got better today.
I'm trying.
You're a whiz.
You are, absolutely. And a big round of applause for our Redditors, technewstoday.reddit.com. Thanks to everybody who submitted stories there. P. Sheridan, PC Guy 8088, Eliminate, No One Believes Me, yes we do, and J. Joe Hall 2000, among others. All submitted stories among our 1,673 readers at technewstoday.reddit.com. You can go there, submit a story, vote a few stories up and down, let us know what you want to hear us talk about. We appreciate it. And don't forget to buy bricks, bricks.twit.tv. We're going to put them in the hall right over there if you buy one with your message on it. Thanks everybody for watching or listening. However you consume Tech News Today, we're glad to have you along. You can find us on the web, twit.tv/TNT. You can email us at our email address again is tnt@twit.tv, and our phone number is 260-TNT-SHOW. We will see you tomorrow.
I was just driving my car.